Hi everyone, it's Cake Talk episode 20. Welcome if it's your first time or welcome back. I'm going to get right into this. Okay, so the first question is from 22_flame101 on Twitter. Have you ever been to Germany since you're half German? Yes, I've been to Germany 4 times and I'm actually going later this year. And I'm taking my son, he's never been, and my husband, he's never been. So I'm really excited. Okay, on Twitter from Macy_B_123. What is your favorite Beyoncé song if you had to pick one? Wow, this could take all day because I like too many. Oh boy, I really love EXO. I love Flawless. I love Mine featuring Drake. I'm really hot on her last album. I can't wait till she drops the next one. But I still love like Crazy in Love, and I still love Destiny's Child. I just love everything she does. I love the song Party and the video that goes with that. I love it. I pretty much love it all. Okay, next. This is from, oh boy. Okay, this is from, oh boy. Jeanboy E. Diguya. I hope I said that right on Facebook. My question is, what brand of all the cake pans do you use making cakes, and give us a clue for next week's cake? Okay, the cake pans that I use are Crown. They're actually a Canadian brand. But on my personal shop, if you go to howtocakeit.com, we have a brand that is comparable. So there's a link to that brand. They're all 3 inches high for the square and round pans that I use. The next question. Oh, this is a good question, and nobody's ever asked this. This is from Amina Ahmed on Facebook. Which cake took the most people to help you move it around? A long time ago, I made a cake that looked like a stack of suitcases. It was for a wedding, so it was like a big suitcase, then another one, a little carry-on, and it had like a bag on top, and it was huge. And so my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, helped me, and then I actually called a friend to help us as well. So it was very heavy, and because it was so heavy I had to put it on a wooden board, kind of like my snake cake but bigger than that. So I physically couldn't carry it myself, and even if I could, I wouldn't be able to see in front of it as I was walking. That cake was huge and very heavy. Okay, next. This is from Katie White on Facebook. Do you need to go to cake school to become a good caker? Well, I'm not knocking cake school, but obviously I'm going to say no because I didn't go to cake school. So I guess it just depends how confident you are and what your other skills are that you can apply to cake decorating. So it depends what kind of learner you are. Some people sort of need schooling and need to do it step by step. I'm the kind of person who learns by doing, and that's what I did. So I wouldn't say it's a necessity. Maybe it's cool to take a couple of courses that specialize in like one particular thing that you're not sure about, but everybody should do what they have to do or what they feel would work best for them. Next. Oh, this is from Becca Smith on Facebook. Will Mr. Cake be joining you in any more videos? And number 2 questions. Where's Chet now, and did someone replace him? Mr. Cake hopefully will be in another video. Mr. Cake is actually turning 40 this year. So I think maybe I need to make him a birthday cake and have him in that video. So I'm going to say yes. And Chet, Chet's amazing and talented at what he does. So, when we started How to Cake It, we didn't know it would grow so fast. And he was on with us for a really long time. I would say like a year. And then he had another project which he was really excited about and was already lined up before How to Cake It even began. So he's still filming, just not on How to Cake It. And other people are lucky enough to have him. And we now have Sasha, who has been, actually, you've seen Sasha, I think, in 3 videos. I can't remember what one of them is. There's a little bit of her, I think, in the Gummy Drop Pyramid video. And she's definitely in Harry Potter. And she's definitely in the Birdie Bots Everything Flavor Beans Challenge. She was a champion. She beat me, basically. So now it's all about Sasha. Okay, so next, oh, this is great. This is from Ichiro Tomacane on Facebook. How do you wash all of those dishes? Thank you. Thank you. I wash all of those dishes. This actually ties into another question that I know is here. Let me find it. Somebody asks, I have to get back, what do you do when your cakes are chilling? I wash dishes. That's what I do. So when I put the cakes in the fridge to chill, I usually go and wash all the pans that you've seen me take all of the cakes out of, because I can't stand dirty dishes. And you guys don't see my sink on how to cake it, but when I'm facing you guys and I'm icing cakes, I see my sink over here, and it drives me crazy when it's filled with dishes. So as soon as I put the cakes in the fridge and we take the camera down, I run to wash my dishes. Let me get some questions on the screen, some live questions. Oh, here's a good question. Nobody's ever asked me this. This is from Shravani Narvakar from Goa, India. Hello. Do you think it's better to use shortening or butter? I am a butter girl all the way. All the way. Flavor, it's more natural. I'm butter's best friend. I like butter more than I like Beyoncé. That's how much I like butter. And the only thing I use shortening for is when I'm using it on my hands, if I'm kneading fondant or kneading gum paste to stop it from sticking to my hands, or sometimes I use it if I've made like a little gum paste ornament, I'll rub shortening on before I rub on like a metallic luster. But that's the only way I use it. I never bake with it. This is from, I'm forgetting how to do this right. Okay, this is from Brooke Shelley. So I think I have to select it. Yes, I have two questions. First, how do you get your icing to be perfectly smooth on a cake? I also have a hard time applying fondant to a cake without ripping it. What's the best way to do it? Okay, so I have two perfect videos you can watch that can help you out with that. One of them is I don't remember what it's called, but I have a video where I ice 3 cakes, and I use these really pretty cake toppers. And in there, I talk a lot about icing cakes and different techniques, depending on your skill level. Having a bench scraper is really great if you want it to be perfectly smooth, but it does take a lot of practice, and it also depends on what type of frosting you're using. And then the other question about have a hard time applying fondant, I do this in my cake community video where I do a vanilla cake, and I dedicate it to kin community. I cover just a simple 10-inch round cake in fondant, and I show you how. Try a lot of different brands because it depends on where you live and the type of texture you like, where you live because of temperature, and it takes practice, just like icing a cake. If you roll it too thin, it will probably rip. It also depends on the shape of your cake, because if you're covering a really tall cake and you drape it over, all that weight is pulling on the sides, and that's probably what's ripping it. So even though you have to be careful, you have to be quick. So that can be quite tricky. Next, here we go. Oh, this is a good question. Okay, let me done. This is from Boring Old Me. I'm sure you're not that boring or that old. I mean, you're on a Google Hangout. That's pretty hip. Hi, Yolanda. Hope you're having a great, I'm going to guess, day. I was wondering what drove you to start baking and cake decorating. I went to school to be a chef. I love food, but I really love baking, and I have a huge sweet tooth. So then I worked in some bakeries and started icing cakes. I could ice them really fast, and I just knew that I wanted to do more and be more creative with it. And so I started doing that at home at the time, and really just practiced. Every time it was somebody's birthday, I was like, oh, I want to make a cake. And that's where I got all my practice until it became my job. Okay. Next, okay, this is from, I get a lot of questions that are exactly the same. Sorry, so I'm trying to, this is from Kat Murphy. Hi from Australia, I love your Fairy Mate and Vegemite video. Thank you very much. Kat, I love it too. Next, okay. Oh boy. This is just a lot of people saying hi. So that's why I have to go through it so fast. Okay, this is from Alex Hall. Hi, yo. I was wondering what brand of fondant you use because mine is really sticky and it sticks to the surface even with icing sugar. Thank you so much. It would be amazing if I could have a shout out. I try every cake talk, but don't get an answer. Oh, hi, Alex Hall. I'm so sorry. I'm glad I'm answering you today. Okay, so fondant. I use a few different brands, mostly Wilton. Sometimes Satin Ice, and sometimes McCall's, which unfortunately is not available to the world. That's a store here it's actually in Mississauga, which is outside of Toronto, and I go there and get it. But I say try a lot of brands because they do have different textures. If it's really sticky, that can be really tricky. I'm not sure where you're from, but if you're from like a warm climate, that's even harder. So those are the brands I use. You definitely don't want it to be sticky. It is helpful to rub shortening on your hands when you're kneading it because your hands are warm. So the more you knead it, the warmer you're making it, the stickier you're making it. But if it's sticking even with a lot of icing sugar under it, then that's really not helpful. So perhaps try another brand. You can also add a little CMC or what's known as gum text to it, but I would add very little, and that's just to help stiffen it up and maybe it will stop it from being so sticky. But good luck. Try another brand. That's my advice. I tried them all because they're all different, and then you figure out what you like. And sometimes I like one brand more for a certain style of decorating and another for a different one. Yeah, so that's my advice. Thank you, Alex Hall. Okay. Next, let me go back to, there's so many questions on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's a lot. Okay, this is from Anthony Bondanza on Instagram. How many mixers do you have? I have 2. So I have the KitchenAid that you see me use, and it's always in the background, it's silver. But I also have a big mixer that stands on the floor, and you don't see that because that's where the camera is. So it's in front of me. In front of me, you don't see my sink, and you don't see my big mixer, and then I have another rack with a bunch of cake pans on it. You don't see those things. So I have a big mixer. When I make buttercream, I actually make it in there because I can make 4 times my recipe in one time. Or if I make a cake that's all the same flavor and I need a lot of batter, I make it in there, and then I just break it down on my blog on howtocakeit.com as to how it will fit in a regular home mixer. So 2. I want more. I really want a colorful one. Really, I really, really do. I've never had one. Okay, next, this is from Meryl Papum, oh boy, on Instagram. Do you have any frosting recipes that are quite simple and don't require a candy thermometer? Love you in your videos. Yes, there is you can always frost a cake with ganache. No thermometer needed. Then I have cream cheese frosting on my blog at howtocakeit.com. I also have a frosting from a really early cake, which is the color wheel cake. And I did basically a traditional frosting with like icing sugar and butter and a bit of milk. So I have those frostings. So I would say those 3 are great, and you don't need a candy thermometer. You also don't need a candy thermometer for 7-minute frosting, but that's nice for like a more rustic cake where you can ice the cake and then sort of burn it a little like you would a lemon meringue pie. So yeah, those are 4 different things you can use, and you don't need a thermometer. Okay. Oh, this is a great question. And I wish I was at the kitchen because I would demonstrate. This is from _Hannah_ on Insta. What makes you cringe when baking? 2 things. One is mess. I don't like mess. I find it very distracting. The other is the timer on my oven, which it is the most annoying sound of all time. It's useful and everyone should use a timer, but I can't stand the way it sounds. And I've gotten so used to it that I can sort of smell when my cakes are done, or I can feel that they're getting ready, and I'll always turn to my oven and it will literally be at 1 minute before the timer, and I'll like take it off just because I don't want to hear the timer. That's how annoying it is. Okay, next. Oh, this is a good question. Right up my alley. This is from This Lens Mirror on Insta. What are the best countries you've been in, and in which have you eaten cake? I've probably eaten cake in every country I've been to around the world because I love cake. And one of my favorite things to do when I travel is go to bakeries. So for me, there's two countries that are bakery heaven, and that is Japan and France. I eat sweets all day. I would give up eating food to eat sweets, but that's really hard because the food in both of those countries is really good as well. But I ate a lot of cake and croissants in France and in Japan. But I also had a lot of nice sweets and cakes in Sweden. I'm trying to think of where else. Oh, I've eaten a lot of cake in New York City. A lot of great cake in New York City. But trying sweets is a big part of my life, and especially doing that in other cultures is something I really enjoy. Oh, and in Germany, hello, which ties into I read another great question, and I loved it because it's so true to me, and now I can't find that question. Where is it? Okay, I'll get back to it. I will find it. So another great question here is from Haley Pruitt on Insta. Do you know all of your cake recipes by heart, or do you have to look at a recipe? I do know them by heart, but I always look at the recipe because I have them written out just like I do on my blog in different quantities, like 4 pounds, 6 pounds, 8 pounds. I even have like 20 pounds for when I use my big mixer. So even though I remember all the ingredients in order, I don't remember the quantities for every portion of batter. And I'm afraid that if I do it from my head, I might make a mistake, and mistakes are terrible in baking because you have to start all the way at the top. So I always read my recipes and make sure to measure correctly. Next, this is from Hellfire Worship. Well, on Insta, what fillings would you recommend for a chocolate strawberry checkered cake? Yum! I'm considering toffee filling, but I'm afraid it won't go well with strawberry and it might be too sweet. That could be true. And in my mind, I'm also thinking about color because I'm picturing like chocolate and pink. What a coincidence. Because today, the cake I'm about to go and film is going to have chocolate and pink cake. So great minds think alike. I honestly, and what I'm doing in my cake is vanilla because I think that the white in between would look really nice. And then vanilla is such a nice subtle flavor that you'll still get to taste the chocolate and the strawberry. You could also do chocolate because that would look really nice, but I do think if you have too much chocolate, you might overpower the strawberry flavor. So that would be my choice. Okay. Next. Oh, here's a great question. This is from, wow, Duabdella on Instagram. Hey, yo, hey, greetings from Egypt. Nice, I want to go to Egypt and eat cake. Can you make a video on how to make letters and numbers perfectly in fondant? They never come out as good. Thank you, I love your videos. I love you too, thank you for watching. Yeah, well, now there's a lot of great cutters. When I first started cake decorating, there weren't. There's a lot of great letter cutters and tappets that are available that you can find online. And then if I'm ever doing something like, let's say I'm making, I don't know, a big chocolate bar that I'm replicating and it's a specific font, I'll make a template. Like I'll find that, oh, like Vegemite. I found the logo online, blew it up to the size I needed, cut it out of paper, and then use those little letters cut out of paper, laid on fondant to cut. But the best tip I can give you is number one, make sure if you're cutting it out of fondant, chill your fondant a bit so it's cold because it takes a long time to carefully cut out a letter. Number two, I often prefer though to cut letters out of gum paste because especially if your fondant is on the sticky or soft side, gum paste is a bit better because it starts to set up as you roll it out, like after you roll it out. Use a very sharp knife or an X-Acto knife or like a little, almost like a scalpel. I don't think it's actually called a scalpel, but a very, very sharp blade is what you need. And patience. And try not to touch it a lot because if it's a little letter and you have your hand on it and you're cutting, you're warming it up a lot, and that will make it a lot harder for you to cut and pick up. The other thing I like to do when I cut letters by hand, not with a cutter, is cut them and leave them where they are for a sec before picking them up. Just because you'll start to warp them and you don't want to do that. And it's also good to sort of let them dry a bit before you apply them to a cake. Don't cut it out and then pick it up and apply it. It's just too small. Anything small is always better to let sit for a moment. Okay, let's go back to some other questions on the screen. Okay, what? Oh, this is a good question. This is from Abigail294. What can you do with modeling chocolate other than being fake cheese? You could do a lot with modeling chocolate. You can cover cakes with modeling chocolate. You can make things out of them. I think I did on turkey cake, I did the bones at the top from modeling chocolate because I like the color. And most of all, it's called modeling chocolate for a reason. A lot of sort of cake sculptors use it when they make like cake toppers. They sculpt that or little figures from modeling chocolate because you can adjust the amount of chocolate in modeling chocolate, and then it gets, it's more sturdy and it gets harder, and it's kind of easy to work with because as you need it, you can soften it, but then it goes back. So it's great for modeling, as you would guess from me. Thank you, Abigail. Next, oh, this is great. Okay, this is a great question, and it ties into something. This is from Britt Douglas. I'm planning to make your watermelon cake next Wednesday for a birthday. Nice. Still one of my favorites. Any extra tips or tricks you can share? Yes, number one, don't hire Walter to be your model. Number two, I actually just adjusted my blog on watermelon at howtocakeit.com because I write in that blog that one of the best things about red velvet cake is that you can change the color. And I mention my orange velvet cake that I use in Cakeoroni cheese, and there's a link. And I found there was a lot of people on that particular blog saying that when they baked the watermelon cake, it turned out brown. And I couldn't figure out why. And I figured out that I think a lot of people were clicking the link to orange velvet and then just using pink coloring. And the problem with that is my orange velvet cake, just like red velvet cake, has cocoa in it. But my pink velvet cake that I use for watermelon has no cocoa because the cocoa will win over the pink color. So it has the cocoa emitted and then there's color. And I just made Walter again for an event I did with Kin Community just a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like, I got to figure this out. I'm going to follow my own blog to the letter and figure out why people are saying it turned brown. And so what I actually did was make the whole batter without the dye and then dyed it after. And the batter is white, like the batter is the color of vanilla batter. So I thought to myself, they have to be adding that cocoa because they're following the other link. So I actually took that link out completely so nobody would be confused. And the other tip is it really depends on the brand of food coloring you're using, but you definitely want to see that pink color in your batter before you bake it. It's not that it's going to be super light and it's going to get really hot pink in the oven. It will deepen slightly, but you want your batter to look absolutely pink. And then have fun painting. Get a watermelon for real because it will really help you. And then you can eat it after, which is great. So good luck. And I hope you'll put up a picture on Instagram or something and tag me or send it to me because that's watermelon and turkey are the two cakes that the most viewers have made and tagged me. So that makes me really happy. Okay, next. This is an excellent question. Thank you so much. This is from Kina Cool. Do you experiment with new batter recipes often? What is important in a novelty cake batter? Very good question. So I no longer experiment that often because I've been using the same recipes for like 17 years. And somewhere along the way, I adjusted them as I needed to. Recipes don't always work the same. You double them or quadruple them. So sometimes you'll find you'll have a recipe for like an 8-inch cake, and then when you bake it as a 12-inch, it doesn't do as well, and that needs adjustment. So I have played with my recipes a lot to adapt them, especially for novelty cakes, for strength, so that I can stack them, and so that when I carve them, they're not just crumbling away. That's why we call them Yo's Ultimate Vanilla Cake and Yo's Ultimate Chocolate Cake, because when I make novelty cakes, those are the cakes I go to. I do make other cakes, like I make, carrot cake and banana cake, but those cakes are less dense, and so they're not always the best choice if I'm going to carve. I'll use them in a wedding cake or tiers, but not to carve. So yes, and the most important thing, like I said, is strength and density. because structure matters a lot in novelty cake. If you don't have structure, you have nothing, because now you've created this structure and carved it, and now you're going to put on all this heavy fondant and have it out of the fridge for a long time while you decorate. You don't want that cake to be crumbling and falling apart underneath. It's also nice to have a dense cake that you simple syruped, because they do take a long time to decorate. So by the time you eat it, you still want that cake to be nice and moist. If you use something really light and airy, it could be drying out underneath as well as not be strong enough. So thank you very much, Kina Cool. Next, okay, wow. Okay, oh, here you go. Select. This is from Alfredo Vega. I know you're all about cakes, but have you ever baked French macaroons? Yes, I have. I haven't for a long time. And to be honest, my kitchen for a very long time before How to Cake It, well, the whole time before How to Cake It was nut-free. So I never baked with nuts because a lot of people are allergic to nuts. And I had no recipes with nuts. And then, so if I ever did bake with nuts, I did that like at home in my own kitchen. But because of How to Cake It and the success of How to Cake It, I finally let nuts into my kitchen, because I personally love nuts and they add a whole flavor profile, and there's so many ways I can use it. So maybe you will end up seeing some macaroons one day in the future. Thank you, Alfredo. Next. Oh, wow, this is an excellent question. Honestly, this is from Noah Stewart. Do you feel as though there is a cake that isn't as good as the others? One that you reflect on, but you shouldn't be in doubt because all of them are amazing. You go, Yolanda. Thank you, Noah. I actually reflect on all of my cakes. I'm the type of person that every single time I make a cake, afterward, I think, okay, what would I have done different? How would I change that? Maybe next time I should do this. Oh, I wish this looked like that. I think that's the way I most like Beyoncé, because you can totally tell she's like that. She is a perfectionist, and so am I. And while I think sometimes being a perfectionist can be really hard on a person, I think it's also what makes me keep loving making cakes. I always think I can do better. I always try to do better. I always try a different technique. And then the other thing is, on How to Cake It, it's really different because shooting comes into play. So I have some time restraints, and there's lights on me on the cake. When I made snake cake a couple weeks ago, I couldn't fit it in the fridge, and that was huge. I wish I could have put it in the fridge. That drove me crazy. And after, when I watched the first cut, I thought, oh, if I had put that in the fridge, I could have put the diamond mesh and squeezed it even more to get the pattern. So things like that. And then there's one cake on How to Cake It that I want to delete, and it's the half birthday. I want my son's 2.5 birthday is coming soon. I should make him another half birthday cake, because I did something wrong when I made that recipe and I can't figure out what it is. And the cake got really yellow and dark around the edges. And I love the idea and I love the execution, but I was very unhappy with that. But it was too late to go back, and I actually didn't even know it. I couldn't tell from the surface of the cake. I could only tell when I cut into it. So there you have it. I always keep trying to do better no matter what. Okay, next. Okay, let's go back to these questions. There's a lot of people just saying hi on the live feed, which is great. Hi, everyone. Okay. Okay, here it is. This is what I was trying to find. It's from wow_. Wow. A lot of symbols, and Suseda on Instagram. Everybody has a specific cake from their childhood memories. What's yours? Mine is Black Forest cake. That was huge in my house. My father's German. I love Black Forest cake. I'm actually surprised I've never made. I have to make a Black Forest mega cake on How to Cake It. It's on my list because I love Black Forest cake. In fact, my picture, I think it's of like my first birthday, is me sticking my hand into a Black Forest cake. So Black Forest cake is definitely a big childhood memory for me. So next, I'm not sure. Let me answer this because I'm not sure what you mean. This is from Sarah Douglas. Have you ever baked with silicone? I know you don't usually, and if you have, do you have any tips? Oh, I think you must mean like a silicone pan. I do use silicone mats a lot. I love them, love them, love them. I baked a couple of times on Sugar Stars with a silicone pan. Like I remember we baked these tiny little loaves. The best advice I'd give you there is you should try and remove, if they're tiny things, you should try and remove them when they're a bit warm. Because I find when it cools completely, like I like to do in a metal pan, it's really hard to get them out. And then if you start to invert it to get it out, sometimes it wrecks the edges. So that's definitely why I prefer metal, because I actually like to cool my cakes completely and then even chill them if I'm carving them. It really, really, really helps. Some cake decorators even like to freeze their cakes to carve them. It just really helps the process rather than it being warm at all or even room temperature. Okay, so next question. Okay, this is from Brooke Shelley. Any advice for someone planning on going to pastry art school? Well, I can't give you advice because I didn't go. I'm going to tell you to have fun. I'm going to tell you to pay attention and enjoy it. And yeah, really listen, pay attention, put your heart and soul into it if that's what you love, and it will always give back to you. And then continue, you know, follow. I know I went to cooking school, so I can relate in this manner. When you go to cooking school, you start with the basics. I remember the first week of cooking school, all we did was learn how to properly chop onions and vegetables. And there were people who had no patience for it because they just wanted to be like Wolfgang Puck on the second day of cooking school. And that's not how it works. They usually make you learn all of the basics and all of the classics. And then as you become more comfortable and confident, you can cook in your own way and find your own style. But pay attention and don't dismiss sort of the rules in the classes, especially in baking and pastry, because the rules matter. Can't skip the rules. I hope you guys can't hear my stomach. Thank you, Brooke, and enjoy pastry school. Okay. Lots of people saying hi from Japan and Malaysia and Goa. This is amazing. Wow. This is. Oh, I think I answered one of your questions already. This is from Kat Murphy again. If you could only pick one food coloring to use for the rest of your baking life, what would you choose? Wow, that's too hard. Like one color? Oh, that's too hard. I think I have to say ivory. I feel like that's the color I have used the most. But then if I just use ivory, it would be like, everything would be very like light. I really like pink. This is a really hard question. I can't believe this is the hardest question I got today. Okay, oh boy, I have to start filming. Let me answer one more question. Oh, this is a great question. A fun question. This is from Leanne S. from Australia, literally in my bed watching this at night, 11 p.m. Thank you so much. I want to go to Australia and eat cake too. What's your favorite equipment / tool in your kitchen? Do you prefer eating or making the cakes? Wow. I think I prefer making the cakes. That's pretty obvious. Like I wouldn't do it for 15 hours if I preferred eating the cake, because then I could just eat the cake out of the pan, which is what I do. Whenever you see me leveling the cakes, it's me that eats the hump. I usually eat it more during the process than I do the finished cake. There's something about the finished cake, I feel like it's sacrificial when I eat it. And a lot of you comment on that when I eat my cakes at the end of the video. Everybody's like, she got it! I'm right there with you. So I think I prefer making them. I just love the transformation. Because even I, at the beginning, in my head, I'm thinking, am I going to do this? Is this going to look like a snake? Are they going to think this looks like a turkey? How do I make this look like a watermelon? Oh, that's Casper. He's from Australia too. Casper, come on now. So thank you for your question, Leanne, and everybody. I'm sorry I could. Casper, honestly, it's cake talk. Thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't answer everybody's question. I will be here again in 2 weeks. Thank you so much. Can't wait to start filming. Bye.